Tone Deaf Monk here. How are y'all doing? That sounded like an American accent, but I'm Canadian. That's better. All right, let's talk Planar. I have a love-hate relationship with Planar. My love is my giant electrostatic planars in my media room that I have positioned 12 feet apart and exactly 8 feet from where I sit dead center. And I love those. They disappear. You can't hear them, just music. Now, my headphones I also love are Hi-Fi 400i's, which are also planar. Downstairs, I have 3 subs. A 12-inch 1,000-watt Sunfire Bob Carver and 2 Polk Audios. The 2 Polk Audios basically do what the planars cannot, which is low bass. And the third one does sub bass. And I love that system. Now, Hi-Fi 400i's, they do a pretty good job because they're still fairly large, but they're also bass shy and lean towards more bright, brilliant than overall balanced. Now, the latest KZ PR2s. I'm not here to shill these. That's where my hate relationship comes in. I really don't like the tonality of planar in-ear monitors. I think they need a dynamic driver to balance them off, to give them what the right note weight for bass and sub bass in order to make them sound correct. Even if you EQ them, I don't think they get there. But let's start off with a shout out to Hawaii Bad Boy and KZ. One, for making this collaboration happen to bring an affordable planar, real planar, everyone's pretty clear on that, to the market and at sub $50. My first planar was a timeless, and which was brilliantly tuned compared to everything else on the market, and really showed me what, in a IEM, a very dynamic, very articulate, resolving IEM that, and this was before I got into a lot more of dynamic drivers. We all go through a journey. My second one was Heyday, and then I bought the PR1 Pro, which I liked more than that one, and then I bought the PR2 for you guys more than me to share my impressions with you. I always get that one backwards, but we get it right eventually. So when I say I hate planar, I'm not saying I hate this planar. I'm saying I'm on the camp, either you love planar or you hate planar, and I'm not a planar camp bandwagon fan. I just don't think they sound musical. But I wanted to share this with you and my impressions and where I stand, because I see an absolute ton of people asking on the forums and in Facebook, social media. They're asking about, should I pick this up? So, and that's kind of an interesting one. And I think my answer for that is really, if you do not have a planar at this point, then by all means, it's really hard to beat the value of a under $50 planar for everything that it gives you with one cravat. And if you already have a planar and you're trying to, I have a PR1 or a PR1 Pro, should I buy this one? Is it that much better? No, it's not. It's probably the best value. Is it the best sounding planar? No, but it is probably the best value on the market. Now, that cravat. And here's a weird one. So this thing's under $50. But for most people, that you might not enjoy it because it needs power to get it to get it up there. And you're going to need either quite powerful dongle. You're going to need a DAP, or you're going to need a desktop setup to get there. And the question I have is, are you going to do that for a $50 IM? I don't know. You might, but you're going to need it. If you just put this thing on your phone or a low power dongle, you're probably not going to enjoy it, and you'll think there's something wrong with it, and there is, and the fact that it needs power. And the reason I say that, in power-wise, it's to have enough power. You can get power to get up to a volume, but in order to get it to where the driver goes out and then has enough power in the amplifier to bring it back and do all this very, very quickly. And you need some back end. You need an amp that has some good power to make that transients happen. So let's talk about tuning of planars. The KZ PR2 is tuned more like a dynamic driver than a planar, but still has planar sound. Does that make sense? So instead of the old way of tuning planars to just do what they do, this one is tuned very much like you would tune a dynamic driver. And you have that nice sub bass that transitions down into mid bass, and again you have that roll off in the highs and your pinna gain. But the problem is planars still have planar timbre, and it's very sharp, and it's very unique to planar. In bass, it's very fast. Planars don't move a lot of air. They don't have enough surface area to do. They don't move far enough to move air. So your bass isn't like a dynamic driver where you could feel the bass. It's very fast, and because it's like that, you don't get a lot of musicality in the sub bass. It is really kind of, it's bass but not musical. It doesn't have a lot of decay. It doesn't have a lot of extra note weight that would make instruments where you're tapping on drums or kick drums or congos, whatever, to hear the second skin like hit on it as well. So it does sound different. And that's where you see the comments. People are saying, hey, should I pick up this Moondrop Kato? Or should I pick up the, Olina SE? Or should I pick up the PR2? Well, they're completely two different IMs. They're two different sounds. And those are the people that don't have a planar, and you should pick this up, and you'll see for yourself, because it is fairly affordable, whether you're going to like that sound or not. But for me, I'm not a in-ear monitor planar fan. It just doesn't give me the musicality of dynamic drivers or a good quality balanced armature set to make it enjoyable listen for me. Yes, they do fantastic jobs of musical reproducing instruments very clearly, and even vocals clearly, but it just misses those nuances, the subtle details that, for me, add that extra in to make it sound musical. And then the stage and planars, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, where my big ones, they're 4 feet wide, 7 feet high, and they have to face inwards, and I have to be sitting dead center. That does tell you something about the perfect placement for planars. But then we try to stick them over ears or in ears, and we expect them to do something magical, and they certainly do not. I have yet to hear a planar do some kind of 3D imaging effect like some good driver IMs. It just doesn't happen. I find planars have excellent width and sometimes okay on height, but most of the time it's a single plane of depth. Not a lot of depth there, and that, I think, just has to do with the tech, more of the shells or in-ear resonances or any of that stuff. And I think that is always going to be an issue with planar. I wish manufacturers like KZ, who are actually quite innovative, I wish you'd watch this video and take some advice. And that's stop trying to make cheaper. You're on the right path by making affordable and quality real planar, but throw in a dynamic driver in there to give it the low end that it needs, and give it a metal shell to give it a cavity that has excellent resonance frequencies. And I know I would pay more. I would pay, to get that instead of just a planar that I don't enjoy, the musicality wise. Okay, one last thing I want to talk to you about is why the PR2 for me doesn't resonate. And let's just pull up the graph and my target curve. And as you can see that the PR2 is not hitting my preferred bass level. And that's also, even if it did hit that target curve, it's different than a dynamic driver where it doesn't have the note weight. So it just doesn't have enough to put me in my happy zone. And then if you look at the high-end extension and how much energy is up there, for me it just doesn't balance out. So I find this IM and planars in general or to be too much energy in the highs and not enough low end to balance it off for me. So just wanted to show you that and give you a bit of an idea of why this IM isn't for me and planar in general. Thank you. So in conclusion, KZ PR2, should I buy it? Again, if you don't have a planar, it's hard to beat. For if you want to explore what planar sound gives you, true planar sound, but sort of tuned like a dynamic driver. If you're looking for an upgrade to maybe a current planar that you have, this one should be a pass on you. So that's kind of my thoughts. You'll see other impressions out there of describing, what they think of this sound, but I think if you don't have a planar, you should at least hear one. But please don't try and compare this to what a dynamic driver set or another balanced armature set or any hybrid does, because they don't. Okay, thanks much. Anyway, some thought there. Overall impressions of the PR2. Bass is very planar-like, fast, attack speed, no bass bleed. Mid-range, again, the clarity, the fantastic, everything all the way up the entire musical spectrum of frequencies is very clear, sharp, and detailed. That's what planar will definitely give you. Do I find them extremely musical? Not at all. I would rather have a colored IM over this any day, and that's what turns my boat, floats my boat, for certain. So I definitely appreciate and respect something like this coming onto the market at such a good price point, and for many people to enjoy what the planar can do. And if you really do enjoy the planar sound, full on, super happy for you. But I thought I would share my impressions of really overall what I think of planar, and to answer some of those questions. I mean, again, dynamic drivers, balanced armature drivers, tri-bid, any hybrid are going to sound different than a full planar driver, but at least at $50, you can pick one up and see if they are for you. So in conclusion, KZ PR2. Should I buy it? Again, if you don't have a Planar, it's hard to beat. For if you want to explore what Planar sound gives you, true Planar sound, but sort of tuned like a dynamic driver. If you're looking for an upgrade to maybe a current Planar that you have, this one should be a pass on you. So that's kind of my thoughts. You'll see other impressions out there of describing, what they think of this sound, but I think if you don't have a Planar, you should at least hear one. But please don't try and compare this to what a dynamic driver set or another balanced armature set or any hybrid does, because they don't. Okay, thanks much. This is a short one, and I just wanted to share that, my impressions with you. So thanks so much. This is the Tone Deaf Monk. And till next time, which I do have some stuff coming. Pretty excited about. Ended up getting... CVJ is sending me the most of the stuff I pay for. A couple of these ones they give me, and I let you know. And you'll notice that I never put a disclaimer out that, I'll let you know whether I paid or not, but I don't do disclaimers, right? You'll know if I'm legit or not. You can see through the... Yeah. And TRN going to send me a couple, again, inexpensive ones. And I love doing some, and the reason I asked for some of these, like I specifically asked for these, was because I want to bring to you what I think maybe is some gems that have good value. And if they're not, then I'll still show them my impressions with you as well. I don't just do my impressions on things that are great. I do impressions on the things that I have gotten, and if they're not great, then you'll still know, right? And I think that's good advice, just to maybe so you don't spend your money, and maybe I did, or maybe I got a sample. I'm not sure, but the TRNs have some beryllium drivers, which I showed great. I like the speed of beryllium dynamic drivers, so hopefully so those are pretty positive at a good price point. And the CVJ, I've never tried a CVJ one, so that's interesting. I also ordered the Kiwi Ears Quartet, so I'm excited for that. I like the sound of the double 6mm dynamic drivers like in the Fan 2. If that trend continues, I hope so. I love that speedy bass, mid-bass, without bleed. I think it's fantastic. And then the Juzz Ears called the Flame, which I'm 99% sure is a redone 41T, same drivers, and the configuration, just with a different shell and a red shell. But Sonyan balanced armature mids, I love those. Not all those work out well to fruition. Hit as MS5. But in most cases, if you actually have a decent tuner, they work out quite well, and there's some positive vibes there. So let me go for now, and I'll be coming back at you with some more stuff soon. Thanks for watching. This is Tone Deaf Monk. I'm out.